I was looking at all the life.
Facts and information about the history of clothing and literature of Native American Indians. The history of Native American clothing varied from tribe to tribe and was made from the natural resources. The natural resources used to make clothes fell into three main types: clothes made from animal product, plant, and woven from cotton or other plant fibers. Three codes were introduced by the European in the late 1700s and changed the culture of the tribe and the history of Native American clothing forever.
Good to be out of the rain.
The Pilgrims were certainly knowledgeable of fabric and clothing construction. The three main basic garments consisted of underpants, stockings, petticoat, chemise, bluster, bodice, skirt, apple, cuff, outer cuff, and shoes. The men's clothing consisted of underpants, stockings, shirt, breeches, waistcoat, doublet, cap or coat, cap or hat, and boots.
After 2 days in the desert sun.
For the women, the new fashion was just another swing of the pendulum. Recently, they would go back to homes, full skirts, and tight bodies. They then committed themselves, however, to a type of dress that leads down to modern times in a straight line. Their trousers were reaching to the middle of calf, and on their way to the shoe top. This has vanished and color was going. Male costume has turned another corner.
Out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember.
18th century fashion in European and European influences clothing is characterized by extremely full skirt, women's fashions relying on crinolines and hoops, and the emergence of alternative fashion under the influence of the artistic state movement. In men's fashion, the three-piece little suit of shirt, waistcoat, and trousers in the same fabric emerges as a novelty. Moving aniline dyes, red chemical dyes, were discovered in 1846 and quickly became fashionable colors. Corsets was achieved by making them longer than before. They were reinforced with many stripes of war-bound clothing or piece of leather.
After 9 days, I let the horse run free, 'cause the desert had turned to sea. There were plants and birds and
Pioneers spent most of their time working on their farm or in the house. Making new clothes took a long time, so they took care of the clothes they already had. Most of the clothes were made out of wool or linen. Since clothes were hard to make, they had at least 2 sets of work and also had 1 or 2 days of items to wear to church or for special occasion. Boys usually wore overalls or pants with a short jacket over it, and women and girls wore long dresses or skirts with blouse. They also often wore bonnets to protect their face from the sun.
remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain.
For the women, the new fashion was just another swing of the pendulum. Recently, they would go back to homes, full skirts, and tight bodies. They then committed themselves, however, to a type of dress that leads down to modern times in a straight line. Their trousers were reaching to the middle of calf, and on their way to the shoe top. This has vanished and color was going. Male costume has turned another corner and was on its way to the grab pleasant. After World War II ended, fashion was in transition. New fabrics and techniques were invented, and people created new styles and silhouettes. In Paris, there launched the vertical line, also known as the shirt dress. Its overall silhouette was long and narrow. Generally, it was made with 3 pieces: a bodice, skirt, and jacket. The bodice was high shaped with shining neckline with long straight sleeves. The skirt was narrow and slim, and the jacket was short and boxy. There is no official language of the United States. While almost every language in the world is spoken in the United States, the most frequently spoken non-English languages are Spanish, Chinese, French, and German. 90% of the U.S. population speaks and understands at least some English, and most official business is conducted in English.
With no clouds,
Nearly every non-religion in the United States, 71% of Americans identify themselves as Christians. The research also found that about 23% had no religious affiliation at all, and around 6% of the population is made up of non-Christian religions. The number of people who identify with no religion seems to be decreasing.
'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain.
American American cuisine brought influences by Europeans and Native American in its early history. Today, there are a number of fruit salad, hamburgers, hot dogs, potato chips, macaroni and cheese, and meatloaf. There are also styles of cooking, and type of food Southern American cooking is often called American comfort food. Tex-Mex, popular in Texas and the Southwest. Turkey, dried meat, is also a food that was created in the United States.
In the desert fun, I was looking at a riverbed.
Clothing style vary by social status, religions, occupation, and climate. Jeans, sneakers, baseball caps, cowboy hats, and boots are some items of clothing that are closely associated with Americans. Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein, Michael Kors, and Victoria's Secret are some well-known American brands. American fashion is widely influenced by celebrities and the media.
No one for to give you no pain. La, 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 la.
United States is very known around the world as a leader in mass media production. A television was starting in Jersey to call in the States in the early 1950s are now shown around the world, centered in Hollywood, California. The United States arts culture extends beyond movies and television shows. New York is home to Broadway. Americans have a rich theatrical history. American folk art is an artistic style. American music is very diverse with many styles.
After 9 days, I let the horse run free.
The United States is sports minded country, with millions of fans who follow football, baseball, and hockey. Baseball became an organized sport in the mid-1800s. It's known as Americans' favorite pastime.
The ocean is a desert with its life underground and the perfect disguise above. Under the cities lies a heart made of brown.
Many holidays are celebrated on the United States. Americans celebrate their independence from Britain on July 4. Memorial Day, celebrated on the last Monday on May. Labor Day, observed on the first Monday in September, celebrates a country workforce. Thanksgiving, another distinctive American holiday, falls on the third Thursday in November and dates back to colonial time to celebrate the harvest. President's Day, making the birthday of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, that occurred on the third Monday in February. Veterans Day, observed on November 12. The contribution of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. are remembered on the third Monday in January.